Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm a Ukrainian, and I have decided I will vlog daily from my country Ukraine since the start of this awful war with Russia. And in my daily videos I try to update you on the important real-life situations in my country Ukraine, and of course I'm always glad to answer your questions and to clarify some facts from our history, culture, background, or whatever interests you. And today, when I was reading the updates of our news, I have come across one personality that I haven't spoken about before, and I think he is worth mentioning in this negative list of funny pro-Russian dictators. And this is a leader, so-called leader of one of the occupied by Russian Federation countries, Chechnya, Ramzan Kadyrov. Well, if you don't know him, you can Google and you will see that he looks funny and he acts funny. Once again, I don't judge people by their appearance, but the way they choose their clothes, platforms they wear to make themselves look higher, their love for various expensive brands and their combination with military clothes, all of that make them look not like political leaders, serious leaders, but more showmen. And the very behavior and lots of information about Ramzan Kadyrov proves that he is more of a puppet, showman, a puppy of Putin or whatever. Chechnya is a very strong, small, brave country that was long occupied by Russia. Of course, it goes without saying that kind of people that live there, they are not Russians, and it's not normal for them to be a part of Russia, and they never wanted. The first Chechnya war started back in 1994 and lasted for 2 years, it seems to me, and small Chechnya country won against Russia, and Russia had to leave their territory. But during these years, many civilians were killed. Lots of tortures were performed, like hundreds of thousands of people were destroyed when Russian helicopters and Russian planes bombed small villages in the mountains. Goes without saying, no infrastructure, nothing was there. They were just creating the genocide for the people of Chechnya. But they still lost this game, they still lost this war, because the people of Chechnya, they are strong, Caucasian people, and they were fighting fiercely against Russians. And once again, that was a fact that might have demonstrated to the world that all the information about the second army in the world is a total fake, and when they come in reality with real people who do not fake their bravery, who do not fake their desire to protect their land, it all does not work so simple. But there was a second Chechnya war that lasted really long. It seems to me it started in 1999 and finished in 2007. And almost since the end of that time, Ramzan Kadyrov was a prime minister and now the president of Chechnya, but he is a pocket animal of Putin. And all of his power comes from the blessings of the Russian Tsar. The problem is that Ramzan Kadyrov was the son of once the president of Chechnya, who was, as far as I understand, against the Russian occupation and Russian regime. So his life demonstrates not only betrayal of his own country, of his own nation, but also betrayal of his father's interests. He is very much into money, into expensive cars, into wearing designer clothes, combining them with guns, military outfits, and this all makes him look very funny. Also, he is a huge fan, as many dictators, of various world celebrities. He often invites them for the parties. He loves making photos with them. And once again, for me, it all looks really, really funny. And Russian propaganda tries to create the image of Ramzan Kadyrov as a very fierce warrior, because like Caucasian people, Chechnya people in general, they are very good fighters, and they tried to copy this image on Ramzan Kadyrov. It did not work out. And of course, he is also against Ukrainians, and he totally supports special military operation here. And at the beginning of this war, they were trying to create panic that lots of Chechnya battalions will come and kill Ukrainians, and you have to be afraid, because this is not just Russians, but just Chechnya people who can be very fierce. And Kadyrov started filming lots of TikTok videos. That's why we often call them TikTok troops, where he was trying to pretend that he's in Ukraine, that he's in Kyiv, and soon he will take over President Zelensky. He will ruin everything. But it was funny because on the majority of these videos, it was possible to identify they were not filmed in Ukraine at all. And perhaps he films them back in Chechnya or in Russia. And it's really funny because when you want to look like a serious politician or a serious military man, at least don't fake videos, you know. And lots of the battalions that came here, of course, there are not many because Chechnya is a small country. The army of Chechnya is really small, and their presence on the battlefields of Ukraine could not dramatically change the situation. But still, there were some of them, and they pretty soon died or escaped. And those who left were not actually fighting with Ukrainians, but were controlling Russian troops. And very often they did one ugly thing that Russian army is famous for and Soviet army was famous for. They are like having guns, they control others, soldiers, so they not defeat. And if, for example, some Russians want to escape the battlefield, they shoot them. And also, they were guilty of shooting the wounded Russians, not Ukrainians, Russians. And it was like the plan of the Kadyrov's army, what they were doing here in Ukraine. Also, they were stealing. And those cities that were occupied by Russians for a short period of time, like Bucha, like Irpin, they all demonstrate that it's very different whether they were occupied by Russians and Buryats, for example, then T-shirts escaped and sneakers escaped. And when Kadyrov's army occupied the flat, for example, perfumes, expensive clothes and other things. So perhaps they use that for TikTok, or maybe they bring this all to their leader, Kadyrov. But in general, I think, I wonder how can people take characters like Kadyrov, like Putin seriously, because only when you look at their behavior, when you look at their image, at the way they communicate with their people, how they influence various political processes, what phrases they use to show off, it all looks really, really funny. Tragically funny, I would say. Why tragically? Because millions of people believe that. And that is a true problem. So now I have read that perhaps Kadyrov is in a certain sanction list. Of course, he cannot travel the world, but he doesn't because traditionally he eats from the palm of Putin. And it's really sad because this is an example of betrayal of your own country and betrayal of your own family history. So if there is something that I want to say with this video, that there is also such a country as Chechnya. It's a small mountainous country with brave people that are now also occupied by Russia. And of course, they don't want to be a part of this country. And of course, they are not a part based on their traditions, culture, religion, language, I don't know, genetics, anything. So I do believe the day will come when many beautiful nations will be liberated from Russian Empire, post-Soviet Union and Putin's Russia, and they will be able to develop their own identities and to support their own languages and live prosperously and cooperate with the rest of the world on the normal terms. Thank you once again for watching my videos. I'm really grateful if you like them. Also subscribe to my channel if you find it interesting. I believe the world needs to know more about the situation in Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees and becoming my patrons, as now I'm using this money for the development of my new project, Soviet Myth Debunked. It is in a separate list on my channel if you're interested. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being with Ukraine. Thank you for your understanding, and justice must win. Slava Ukraini!